sprang immediately to mind. Is Tristan cute? Is he cool for a boyfriend or just as a friend? Does he have a girlfriend? When can I meet him? In other words, all the questions that were guaranteed to make Madison's hackles rise. If she was going to be mature, I should take a stab at it too. So, are you going to be a female version of Guildenstern or dress in male drag?
Drag, she said happily. We talked about setting the show during the 20s or something, but decided to go full-out Elizabethan. Tights, swords, doublets. Jocinta is doing costumes again, and she's so excited.
Sounds great. I look forward to it. Just let me know the rehearsal schedule so I can put it in my book. As an adjunct English professor, my classes tend to be at those odd times that full-time profs don't want, and I also have to keep office hours. Keeping up with that while monitoring the activities of a busy teenager was a constant challenge.
There is one thing I want to ask about, schedule-wise.
Madison looked at Sid, and I knew the moment had come for them to ask whatever it was they'd cooked up earlier.
You know high schools have to work with tight budgets.
Sid spoke for the first time since we'd sat down to dinner. He doesn't eat, of course, or even drink, but he likes keeping us company during our meals. He also likes sneaking tidbits to Madison's Akita Byron under the table. Not because he likes the dog, but because he was hoping to convince him that there were much better treats available than Sid's own bare bones. He said, "I think it's shameful that the arts are so poorly supported in public schools. I'd like to do more to help." There was a thump under the table that I interpreted as Madison kicking Sid in the shin bone. Had she known him as long as I had, she'd have known that, unlike her, he never could stick to a script. But I'd known him most of my life, while she'd only been formally introduced to him a few months before.
Madison said, "Becca said we're going to spend most of our budget on costumes. That's the way they did it back in Shakespeare's time."
I know. English professor, remember? Even adjunct faculty members are familiar with the way Shakespeare's work was originally produced.
Right. So we'll have some props and scenery, but they'll be minimal, whatever we can scrounge up. And today Becca pulled out this really awful papier-mâché skull and said we'd be using it for the grave-digging scene.
Sid assumed a dramatic pose. "Alas, poor Yorick! I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy." There was another thump under the table.
"Anyway," Madison said emphatically, "I thought that the scene would play so much better with a more convincing skull."
"Like Sid's?" I asked. "What a great idea, Georgia," Sid said, and I think he was trying for enthused surprise. He'd have never made it through an audition if that was the best he could do. "Nice try," I said, "but we all know it wasn't my idea. It was yours and Madison's."
"Was doing the laundry too much of a giveaway?" she asked.
"Just a bit." Not that I was complaining. It meant fewer shirts for me to fold. I took a healthy bite of spaghetti so I could chew on it and the idea simultaneously. "Do you have any idea how you would work this out?"
"It'll be easy," Madison said. "I'll take Sid to school with me and keep him in my locker until rehearsal."
"You're going to take all of Sid?"
"No, just the skull."
"I'm fine with that," Sid added. He really was eager. Usually he hated to be separated from the rest of his bones because it made him feel so helpless. The essential part of Sid, I never know if I should call it his soul, his consciousness, his ghost, or his memory chip, travels with the skull, which means that when the skull is elsewhere, the rest of his bones are just that, a pile of bones. He could move the rest of his skeleton from a few feet away, but not from as far away as the high school. "Won't you get bored cooped up in a locker all day?" I asked.
"I'll put him on the shelf in front of the vents," Madison said, "so he'll be able to watch people."
Since Sid was an enthusiastic eavesdropper and peeper, I could see how that would appeal to him. She went on.
"I'll take him with me to rehearsals, then bring him home every night. All we need is some sort of padded bag to carry him in.